Summoning Cyber End Dragon is not an easy task. To make it, you need 3 Cyber Dragons and a way to fuse them. But Cyber Dragon is semi-limited in Edison format, meaning you can only play 2 copies of it. So summoning Cyber End Dragon is impossible, right? Wrong. There's actually a couple of Cyber Dragon cards that can substitute themselves as Cyber Dragon so long as they're on the field, but since they don't have great stat lines and don't really do anything outside of that, they never saw any competitive play. But it's time to change that. Okay, so how do you justify playing these guys? Unfortunately, the only justification that I could come up with is that without using these guys, the deck just does not function. So even though they don't do anything outside of being an extra name, they'll have to do. And to fuse them together, we're going to be using a card called Power Bond, a fusion spell for machines that doubles the attack of that card, with the drawback being you take the original attack points as damage during the end phase. That's not really a big drawback, as life points are just a resource for you to abuse, but also if you pull this off, you're probably not even reaching the end phase. I also thought Cyber Valley and Cyber E10 were good candidates for this deck, as Valley lets me stall until I get to my main win condition, and E10 is great for getting rid of problem cards. But guys, I've been tinkering with this deck for a month, going from tech card to tech card, desperately trying to make it work, and I have literally gone through 18 deck lists so far, so take my advice. This segment, I'll be talking about my thought process from when I was making my previous deck lists. If you don't really care about this part and you want to see how to actually play Cyber Dragons, you can go to this timestamp to see what I'm currently playing. But for those of you who want to see this deck as it evolves, here it is. This is the first list I made, that I could find actually. Unfortunately, due to me not knowing how obsessed I would be with building this, I didn't save my modifications early on, so I don't actually have my first rough draft. But it's similar enough that it's worth talking about. Also, yes, I know, I see the random charge of the Light Brigade. I was tinkering with Light Swords at some point and forgot to take it out. Anyways, the main takeaway from my first deck list is that I really wanted to resolve Inferno Reckless Summon. This card is decent, but in my opinion, it's way too situational to even be good. It does have some potential in Edison format, and I won't be surprised if it comes up in some jank list down the line, but for now, it's not doing anything here. Moving on to list number 2, I had a similar idea, but I wanted to see how I liked Machinas in this deck. Needless to say, at the time, I did not like it. List number 3 and 4 are pretty similar to list number 2, but this time I thought Evolution Burst was just a really neat card and wanted to include it, considering I have like 8 Cyber Dragons as my way to activate it. It's a really cool card, and the only reason I don't play it right now is that I don't have room for it. It does have some potential as a side deck card. List number 5 through 10, I started trying to make this a turbo deck, as I wanted to win as fast as possible, and drawing a lot of cards seemed like the best way to do that. During this time, I considered Double Summon, as it's a good way to utilize cloggy hands, as a lot of my hands had too many normal summons, but the majority of the time, it just seemed like it wasn't doing anything. I also considered Alchemy Cycle, a trap card that makes my face-up monsters have 0 attack. This is a good way to turn my Protos and Zwei's into machine dupe targets, allowing me to consistently go for the Power Bond. But sadly, this effect being on a trap card just made it way too slow and too gimmicky, but I'm not gonna hold you. This was the right idea with the wrong execution. You'll see what I'm talking about in a bit. List number 11. Just don't ask, please, for the love of God. I don't know. I didn't even test this one. I just wanted to utilize Solar Recharge, but I don't know, this one was really bad. Don't at me. And for the love of God, please don't ask about number 12 either. Just don't. List number 13 is where it started getting better. I added in Fader to help me live long enough to get to my plays, and Machine Dupe solely for Valley, as it turns into a free draw 2 while also thinning 2 copies of Cyber Valley from my deck. This is a concept that we're going to come back to later. List number 14 is from a couple of weeks ago, when I originally intended to bring it to a locals, but I realized Different Dimension Reincarnation had a lot of synergy with Cyber E-Tannin, and I also thought Road Synchron was really cool, as it was a light machine tuner with level manipulation. Alas, while these were decent ideas, I couldn't quite get them to work. Sad. List number 15 and 16 were variants on this, but again, I just couldn't figure it out. It was beginning to seem like this deck was a dead end, but I truly felt like there had to be a card out there that would break this deck. And then a friend sent me a message telling me to play this. Michael Boyd, my friend and host of the channel The Edison Club, texted me a picture of this card, mostly as a joke, I think. It's an equipped spell that lowers my monster's attack points by 1,000 and allows them to attack directly. This card is pathetically bad. I mean, why would I ever want to lower my own monster's attack points? Well, if you recall, earlier in this video, I was experimenting with a card called Alchemy Cycle to make my Proto Cyber Dragon and Cyber Dragon's Vi into machine dupe targets. This would allow me to get out 2 more copies of Cyber Dragon from my deck, allowing for a more consistent Cyber End Dragon. And while Proto can only bring out the original Cyber Dragon, if you don't use Cyber Dragon's Vi's effect to change its name, you can get 2 more copies as Y from deck, and then you can change all 3 of their names to Cyber Dragon, making this card extremely flexible depending on the cards you've already used. Plus, even if you don't pull off the machine dupe combo but you still have Seal in hand, you can make a Cyber Twin Dragon with Power Bond, then equip this seal to make your Cyber Twin Dragon 4600, and now you have a Cyber Twin Dragon that can attack directly for 4600 twice. This help gets around any monster on field, and problem cards like Gores, plus any set monster that could pose an issue. So I immediately started incorporating this tech into my list. This is the current list I'm on, and it's not perfect, but I went back to playing a few cards I previously thought were bad, and I haven't even tested this list at time of recording. I think this list is neat, don't get me wrong, but I've delayed this video like twice now because I keep finding new cards to test, and if I were to keep doing that, I would never release this video. But here's my thought process on this list. First off, I'm playing a hamster Raikou Kaya shell, because Raikou is incredible at removing problem cards, while also thinning my deck by 3 cards, and once I flipped up the Raikou, I can either tribute summon the Kaius or go for Monster Gate to maybe hit a Cyber Dragon. Solar Recharge is also kind of justified with this build as well, though I may replace it in the future when I actually test the list. I think Lila is also a good addition as it's another name for Solar Recharge, but it also gets rid of back row and deck thins for 3. But with all of this out of the way, what's the future for this deck? Well, I think this deck rules. It's not perfect, and it's only just now becoming playable, but I think it has a lot of potential. And I know I say that a lot in my videos, but I'm not the greatest deck builder. I feel like if someone else tried with this, they would do really well. That being said, I plan on continuing my efforts to make this deck a viable strategy, but it makes me happy to finally post this video after working on it for a month. This video is not a definitive guide on how to play Cyber Dragon, but I noticed there's no videos of anyone even attempting to build it for this format. So if you guys have any ideas on how to improve this, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe. And if you want to see my videos a day early, become a channel member, as it really helps support the channel and ensures I can keep up the quality content. But in the meantime, my name is Goki, and I'll see you guys next week for another video. Let's rev it up!